Good day, AP Studio Arts and painting students. Believe it or not, this is the third time I've recorded this video. The first time didn't work, and the second time was all like a chipmunk talking, and the third time, I hope it works. I tested it. Painting students, this is the drawing that we came up with yesterday. And today's process, I'd like you to simplify it even more. In the second overlay, so the paper should be over on the kitchen table. So lay a sheet of paper over here. Instead of just simplifying like these lines out, or making this one box, I'd like it, well, that could work. I'd like you to also think about where some lines go to. Maybe instead of having this line end here, it crosses over, as does this line cross over. Maybe there are still dominant lines that you see in the composition. The railings. This very well could, these three sets of lights could become one set of lights. Anyway, I'd like you to think about how can I continue to play around with this image. Take a look at the Mondrian piece that we've got coming up on our goals page, and how do you do that? How do you simplify the background? How do you work with the foreground? Also, think about how are we dealing with the future for color? Are you going to be incorporating a specific color scheme? Well, that's not the question. The question is, yes, I'm going to incorporate a specific color scheme. How am I going to do that? So make sure that you're thinking about that particular color scheme and how you're going to use it in your picture plane. The other thing is, after you've got your second sheet done, put a third sheet over it and begin to continue exploring that. So continue to lay lines over it. Thicken some of those lines up. Keep eliminating them. Keep playing around with that space. Instead of having this depth, maybe it becomes flatter and flatter and flatter, until you have simplified it down to its most basic elements, most basic lines, much like Mondrian did in his De Stijl style. I'll be right back. I can't pause it, so I'm just going to walk down the hall, close my door, and walk all the way back here. I don't know how well you can hear me. Take my keys off so they don't jingle. I'll forget where I set them, right there. Secondly, AP students, thank you very much for that timeout. What you're doing is you're going to be looking at a Willem de Kooning Woman 1 painting. Now, this is probably one of his biggest, most famous pieces, most famous bodies of work. I don't know that he actually used the idea of continuous line contour, but I know that he had it in his wheelhouse. I know that that was part of his toolbox that he probably used. How can you continue developing your compositions? Remember, you've got two portfolios. You've got your drawing portfolio and you've got your 2D design portfolio. You have to decide which of those two you're going to be working in. If you're dealing with the 2D design portfolio, how are you using the elements and principles in this drawing? If you're a drawing student, how are you using the ideas of mark making? How are you using the ideas of the artist's hand in the piece? Again, we're always looking at composition. How are you drawing the viewer's attention into the piece? Most importantly, keep in mind those criteria the AP use. How are you staying at a 6? And if you dip into the 5s or the 4s or the 3s, how do you bring yourself up out of that? Now, I didn't give you what a 3 looks like, but I did give you a 6. If you want, you can go online and look at AP. I would Google AP grading rubric or AP drawing scoring rubric, and it's going to bring it up. Otherwise, somewhere over here on my desk space, I have, and I'll find it. Oh, there it is. I do have the AP Studio Art Handbook, and I will leave that on the kitchen table for you to look at if you want to take a look. So putting it on kitchen table. It's on the kitchen table. That's it, guys. That's all I've got. Mondrian's Tree, de Kooning's Woman 1, Painting Tree, Woman 1, AP Studio Artists. AP, your last day to work on this. Tomorrow we critique. Painting students, I'll give you about 5 minutes tomorrow to kind of reintroduce the things, and then push you guys off to the back of the room so you can work on this project while we, as the AP kids and me, critique our artwork. APers, ask for feedback from your classmates. Get some ideas. If you're being asked, be polite and be professional, but help them out. If you see things that are an issue, please let them know. We're not going to learn anything if we're not using these critiques for what they're worth. So that's all I got, guys. 5 minutes, 42 seconds. I think I went longer than my other ones. I'll see you on Wednesday. Bye.